All right, good morning and welcome to the live Forex and Synthetic Indices trading section with Vetexx. So today, we're going to be analyzing the markets and then we'll do a quick market review of what happened yesterday, and then we'll look at for trade or maybe set up that probably take for today, the one that will play out tomorrow, and then look out for setup that we have since yesterday. So because of that, if you have any question during the live analysis, you can always ask your question in the comments and do well to like and subscribe and stay active. Okay, so I'll be diving right into the chart and probably show you what we have for today. So first of all, I'm going to start sharing my screen and then I'll also show you a couple of things that you need to understand today. So I'll be sharing my chart with you right now. So just pay attention. Uh, so pay close attention to everything, and let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to be analyzing about 15 to 20 pairs. So starting from the market review of let's say yesterday, there are some pairs that we have our setup marked out on since yesterday. First of all, we have V75 yesterday that we anticipate that was the trade you're supposed to take, but it didn't play out. So we have our setup here from yesterday where I explained we have a sweep of liquidity and then we have structural liquidity here and our protected high right here. So we have this becomes our point of interest, all right? And let me take this out. So scaling down to the 1 hour time frame, because this is on the 2 hour time frame, this is our starting point and then below here is our finish point. So going to the 1 hour time frame where we have our continuation setup. Let me take this out too. We have a continuation setup on the 1 hour time frame here. Our sweep here, our structural liquidity here, and also our protected high here. This becomes point of interest. So our TP1 was somewhere around here, and then the second TP is this swing low here. But I called out the trade yesterday and we didn't execute because it didn't give us the confirmation entry in our point of interest. It didn't give us the confirmation entry in our point of interest. So there are confirmation entry I use, but that will not be discussed here. So if you want to understand the confirmation entry, there are other videos I've made on it in the playlist. You can watch them out, and then where if price come to your point of interest, there are different people that risk different point of interest, different confirmation entry. So the one that suits your style, you can just stick with that one. All right. Now this is the first trade yesterday that we didn't take because it didn't meet our criteria. And then the second one is V15 index. You have V15 index. So V15 index was selling from the 4 hour time frame, which is here. We have this sweep of liquidity, protected high structural liquidity, and then the swing low here, which is our target. Okay, and then because we know where the price is coming from and where it's going to, scale down to the 1 hour time frame to find our continuation entry, which we saw this. So we got this. So this is our point of interest. So we're anticipating price to come into this zone, give us a confirmation, and then sell to the downside. So this is the market uh, review from yesterday to today. So these are the two pairs I've been looking out for, and also V100X, which is right here. We have V100X too. So VN has been bearish on the weekly time frame and it give us this 4 hour continuation. We have our sweep, our protected high, structural liquidity, and this is our point of interest. So this is the point of interest we are anticipating that we have. So price tap into it and then continue to the opposite direction. So upon scaling to the 1 hour time frame, we have this. Okay, we have this on the 15 minutes time frame. You can see this on the 15 minutes, you can see it on the 30 minutes. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to be checking this. So this is supposed to be a continuation entry, our continuation setup where we have our sweep here. But the challenge is the highest high before the protected high, okay, as the structural liquidity is supposed to be this because this didn't take out this structure here. So if you're using your Fibonacci retracement from the protected high all the way here, you see that it's not up to 50%. And this other high here can't be used because what this week here take out this consolidation here didn't take out this week here. So for that, we can't use this as our structural liquidity because it's not up to 50%. So this is what. So the only way we are going to use this as our 50% retracement is when this price there come out here, take this out, retrace back, take out this newly created low to give us our second break of structure. Then we can wait for price to come here and then sell to the opposite direction. So if that doesn't happen and price just tank into this zone directly, the trade will still be valid. So that is what we have on V100. So for today, we are going to check out the other pairs if we are going to see our setup. So starting, I'm going to be starting with V10S and let's see what we have on V10S. Starting from the higher time frame, on the 24-hour time frame, V10S is bullish, and like I said yesterday, there are a lot of people that want to sell V10S from this zone because on the 24-hour time frame, you can see your sweep of liquidity, you can see your protected high here, you can see your structural liquidity, and gives you a your first break of structure, and also gives you another one second break of structure, which is an A plus higher time frame setup. But the reason why this price won't hold here, even if it holds, it's going to just be a retracement because VTNS is bullish on the weekly time frame and it's yet to smash its target. Okay, so you don't have any business selling VTNS at the moment. So what do? You look out for buy structure instead. So since we don't see any buy structure on the 24-hour time frame, I will go to the 4-hour time frame and check if I will definitely see any buy structure on that time frame. So this is the 4-hour time frame. So if I use my Fibonacci retracement tool to check, is this up to 50% retracement? This structural liquidity, let's check if it's up to 50% retracement. If it is not up to 50% retracement, then it is not still valid. So you see, this is not up to 50% retracement. So I'll check this other structure which is below here. If this structural liquidity is up to 50% this is and so on the 4 hour time frame, we have a buy structure on so on Vetexx we are anticipating this buy. So this will become our new sweep. It will become our new protected low, and this will become our new structural liquidity, and this will become our point of interest. So once price come into this zone, give you the confirmation entry you normally use. Okay, then this is going to be your first target, and this is going to be your overall target. So this is all we're anticipating on what? On V10s. So if this play out this way, this is how it's definitely going to play out if price eventually come into this zone. So this structure might form here, might form a bit below here. So this is what we have on V10s. Okay, so the next you are going to be checking is what? You are going to be checking V10. Okay, let's check V10. So V10 on the 24-hour time frame, it has changed trend from being bullish to from being bearish to bullish. So based on top down analysis, let's see where price is coming from and where it's going to. So on the 24-hour time frame, we don't have a direction. And let's check 4-hour time frame. We have a direction on the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, where is price coming from? Where it's going to? We don't have where price is coming from, where it's going to. So there was a trade that played out on the 2-hour time frame like 2 days ago, which was this. So if you joined this live yesterday, I break the trade down, why the trade played out and why it was a very valid trade. So this was the trade that played out here yesterday. So on V10s currently we don't have a setup. So the next pair I'll be checking is what V15 index. V15 index, like I said, V15 index, we're anticipating a what? A sell on V15 index. Okay, V15 index need to sell because why? On the 4-hour time frame, we have price giving us this sweep of liquidity. There's a sweep of liquidity here, all right? There's a structural liquidity here, which is this for continuation. We have our protected high here. We have our break of structure, which is here. And we have what? This is our second break of structure, which is right here. And this is our point of interest. Okay. Now, this is the starting point, and this is the finish point. The starting point is here, and the finish point is here. Okay, this is the starting point, this is the finish point. Now, what do we do next? We go to the 1-hour time frame and look out for our continuation setup. So V15 index on the 1-hour time frame, do we see the continuation setup? Let me take this out. So you can see we have a sweep here, which is we have a sweep right here. We have our protected high here, and then we have a structural liquidity here. Okay, so this serves as our continuation on the 1-hour time frame. So what are we anticipating the price to do? The price to come into this point of interest. All right, once price tap into this point of interest, I'll give you a confirmation entry. All right, depends on the confirmation you use, but there is a confirmation I personally use. So once you give you a confirmation entry, all right, then you sell to the downside. One thing you should not do is don't set limit entry. Always wait for confirmation entry to form before you take your trade. All right, so that is what you need to do. So when price tap here, give you confirmation, you can then sell to the downside. So this is what I'm anticipating on V15 index. So the next pair I'm going to be checking is V25-1S. V25-1S. So on the 24-hour time frame, V25-1S is bullish. On the 4-hour time frame, what do we have on V25-1S? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? Clearly, you can see that V25-1S is give us a bullish structure, which is here. So we have a sweep of liquidity. We have our structural liquidity here. So taking this trade from the protected low to this break of so the second break of structure for the structural liquidity, if it is up to 50% retracement, that is the only way to be valid for us to take. So if I check it, is it up to 50%? Of course it's up to 50%. So this means this is valid. But if this is not up to 50%, I won't consider this setup to be valid. Okay. Now we have our sweep of liquidity, we have our structural liquidity, we have our first break of structure, And then we have what our second break of structure here. So this is an A plus setup on the higher time frame, and then this becomes our protected low. So this zone now becomes our what POI, which is our point of interest. So the next thing to anticipate now is for price to come into this zone, give us our confirmation entry, and then buy to the upside. All right. So this is what I'm anticipating on V25 one index. So we'll be on the lookout for this to play out this way. It's all about speculation. It will play out. It might not, if it's going to respect this zone, it will definitely play out, or it will come here and not give a continuation entry. But whichever way, we are not setting limit entry until price give us what we are looking for before we engage on this trade. So this is what we have on V25 one index. So the next pair I'm going to be looking at is what V31 index. What do we have on V31 index? On V31 index, V31 index is bearish on the 24-hour time frame. Why? Because we have our sweep of liquidity, which is here. We have our structural liquidity, which is here. Now, this sweep of liquidity, if you are confused of what it is all about, sweep of liquidity simply means is used for what? Is a transactional liquidity used for correction. Okay. So after the sweep of liquidity, we have our protected high. And then this structural liquidity is used for continuation. That is why whenever price take it out, it always start moving to the opposite direction if the trend is correct. Right. So uh, that is how we use structural liquidity. That is the use of structural liquidity. It is used for continuation. This is used for correction. Then we have this protected high. So for us to have an A plus setup, does this give us a break of structure? Of course it did. We have a break of structure one, and this is our second break of what structure. Okay, and this becomes what point of interest. So on this 24-hour time frame, price is expected to start selling from this zone, right? And the target is here. Okay, so this is the starting point. This is the starting point, and this is a finish point. All right. Now, what do we look out for now that we don't? Now that we know the direction of V31 index, so we'll go to the 4-hour time frame and check if you are going to have a buy structure. Okay, the only buy structure I can see right now. Let me take this drawing out. The only buy structure that I can see right now on the 4-hour time frame is this. We have what our sweep of liquidity here, our new sweep of liquidity, which is here. Then we have our protected high, which is right here, and we have structural liquidity, which is here. Okay, so we have our first break of structure, BOS1 and BOS2, which is here. Okay, and we have what point of interest, which is right here. So price is expected to sell to tap into this zone. So this is what me personally I'm anticipating. Price is expected to tap into this zone, give us this structure this way, give us the confirmation, and then start pushing to the downside. So this is what I personally is anticipating on V31 index to happen. So this is the only thing I'm looking at for V31 index. So if price, the only way I'll stop looking for sell on V31 index is unless price invalidates this 24-hour time frame protected high, which is this protected high right here. Unless price invalidates it, that is when I'll stop looking for sell on V31 index. So since that has not happened yet, we will still be anticipating this sell on V31 index. So we'll be on the lookout for these two. And the next pair I'm going to be checking out is what is V51S. V51S on the other hand has been bullish, right? Has been bullish for weeks, for months now. It has been bullish on the weekly time frame, daily time frame, and as you can see, if you look at it from this zone, the whole of this place giving series of higher highs, higher low, higher highs, higher low to the upside. So what do? We look at for our continuation setup, which we have one sitting pretty here. So we have our sweep of liquidity, which is here. We have our protected low, which is right here. And then we have structural liquidity, which is here. Okay, so we have our first break of structure here, and we have our second break of structure, which is right here. So price is here to break this threshold. Definitely it's going to break it. So this is what I'm anticipating for price to just break it a little bit and then start tanking to the downside. Tank to the downside, give us our continuation setup, come back to the zone, and then we'll ride to the opposite direction. So this is what I'm anticipating on V15 index, but it has not done that yet. So I'm waiting for price to break this second, to give us our second break of structure. Then we can have a buy structure, a clean buy structure on V51 index on the 4 hour time frame. On the 4 hour time frame. So this is what I personally is anticipating on V51. So the next pair I'll be checking out is what V50 index. What do we have on V50 index? V50 index on the 4 hour time frame. This is what we have on the 4 hour time frame. There's a sweep of liquidity here, right? We have a sweep of liquidity here. And then there's a structural liquidity here on the 4 hour time frame. And we have a protected high right here. Okay, so this is our what point of interest. So this point of interest, price is expected to do this, come to this zone, give us our continuation entry, and then drop to the downside. And then drop to the downside. So this is what we're anticipating on the V50 index on the 4 hour time frame. So if we check on the 1 hour time frame, do we have another continuation setup on the 1 hour time frame? So let's leave this aside and go to the 1 hour time frame and check if there is any other setup that we can anticipate. So looking at this zone here, we have what a sweep of liquidity. We have this structural liquidity, and we have what a protected high, which is here. All right, and then this is our what point of interest. So price is expected to come here, give us our continuation, and also drop. So this is another going to be another outlook. So remember, we have a sell. We are looking out for a sell on V30s, V51s, and this V50 index. So I'm anticipating a sell from this zone. So when the price come here, I'll be sitting on my hands. So the next pair I'll be checking out is what V75 one index. What do we have on V75 one index? V75 one index on the 24-hour time frame. It has been bearish. It's here to smash its target, but that is not going to be our focus for now. We'll go to the recent price action and see what V75 index is trying to do. So looking at this, we have what a sweep of liquidity on the 4 hour time frame, which is this. So let me enlarge it for you to see. So we have a sweep of liquidity here, and then we have our protected high on the 4 hour time frame. Remember, on the 4 hour time frame, and then we have our what our structural liquidity here. Okay, from this zone we have what point of interest, which is right here. We have our first break of structure, and then second break of structure, which is here. Now this is what we have on V75 fan index. Okay, now it has taken out the structural liquidity, but it hasn't given us our continuation entry. So the only way we take a sell on V75 one index is until it come back into this zone, all right, and then give us this something like this. We move this way, and then we be able to take the sell to the downside on V75 one index. And if that don't happen. Okay, we will anticipate the price, we will anticipate unless price starts selling to the downside, price keeps selling to the downside, and then eventually it do something like this, tap into this point of interest, maybe on the 2 hour time frame, and give us a continuation setup in this manner. Then we'll sell. But the thing is, we are not going to be forcing any trade on V75 index. But if you give us something like this, we'll anticipate a move like this, or which is definitely going to do if it doesn't come back to this zone. Okay, so this is what we are going to be anticipating on V75 index. We will just be sitting on our hands. Okay, in a week, if you can catch up to 3 to 4 trade, is going to be a lot more better than taking random trade and forcing entries. So this is what we are going to be anticipating. We'll sit on our hands until price come to us and give us exactly what we look for. Okay, so on V75, we already know V75 1S is bearish. Okay, some persons might start buying V75 fan index because of this structure that it gives here, which is quite a clear buy structure. But the problem here is you only need to start taking, because this structural liquidity for the sell was taken out first. This swing low need to be taken out first too, because if the sell is not yet complete, and we can't jump into the buy, because this is just going to serve as a mere retracement of which price is still going to come back and clear all this low. So this is all we have. We are not going to start buying. We are still going to keep with the sell on V75 one index until this target is until the 24-hour time frame target is taken out. So once that happens, then we can switch our buyers. So the next pair I'll be checking out is what V75. Like I said earlier, V75 gave us a sell structure yesterday, but it didn't respect it. Now we are going to go and look out for another structure if it's going to start buying or it's going to start selling. So for now, we on the 4 hour time frame, what do we have? We have a buy structure on V75 one index. So this is the buy structure we have. Let me take it to the 2 hour time frame. So on this V75, we have a super liquidity here, or let me use this super liquidity, which is more clear. And then there is a structural liquidity here, and then there's protected low here. So this becomes our point of interest. So we're anticipating the price to come into this zone, give us our confirmation, and then continuation setup, and then look out for our confirmation before we buy to the opposite direction. So this is what we have on V75. But if price didn't respect this zone, we have another buy structure below it, which is here, protected low here, and then sweep of liquidity, which is here. So this we have 2 points of interest right now, key levels on V75 index. This is the first buy, this is the second buy. The one that price give us what we want is the one that will ride along with it. Okay, so this is what we have on V75. So the next pair I'll be checking is what V91S. What do we have on V91S? V91S on the 2 hour time frame. V91S is trying to buy from this zone, but the buy is, I'm not considering it to be a valid buy. Why? Because if you check this Fibonacci retracement, this is the structural liquidity, and this is a sweep of liquidity. Sweep of liquidity is valid, give us a break of structure. Structural liquidity give us a break of structure. But if you check it from this protected high to the break of structure of this structural liquidity, is it up to 50%? It is not up to 50%. So this is not considered to be a valid structure for a buy. So this is just going to be a retracement. This is not a valid buy. So what are we going to do next? We look out for where price is going to next. And what do we see? There is a sell structure here on the 1 hour time frame that V75, that V91S is going to, where we have our what? Sweep of liquidity, we have our protected high here, we have structural liquidity which is here, and then we have what point of interest which is here. Okay, so this is what we have on V91s. We have our first break BOS1. This is BOS1 here, and this is BOS2. What I mean by BOS is break of structure. So we have break of structure 1 and break of structure 2. So price is expected to get into this point of interest, give us a structural liquidity, give us our continuation setup, alright, tap into the zone and then drop to the downside. So it's definitely going to sell all the way to this downside. So this is what we are anticipating on V91 index. Okay, this is what we are anticipating on V91 index. All right, so we'll look out for this. Let price come here and let's see what it's going to do. So the next pair I'll be checking out is what after V91s is V100 index. I just analyzed V100 index, not quite long. It was supposed to be a sell structure, but it wasn't valid. So that was what I just explained during the market review. So we have a sell structure here on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, we have a sell structure on the 4-hour time frame on V100 index, and then there's a continuation that was supposed to form here, but price didn't give us exactly what we wanted, but it's dropping to the downside. So if price give us another higher time frame structure and then give us the zone, then we can anticipate a valid sell on V100 index. But until price does that, we'll be sitting on our hands and not force a setup. So this is what we have. That is what we have on V100 index. So the next pair I'll be checking now is V100. So V100 on the 24-hour time frame, like almost matching TP on the 24-hour time frame, because this is where price was selling from. We have a sweep here. We have a structural liquidity here. We have our protected high right here, and then we have what point of interest here. Okay, so this is the starting point, and this is the finish point. All right, the starting point here, finish point here. So now what do we have next? Price has started selling from here, so look out for more continuation setup. So on the 4-hour time frame, do we have a sell setup? We don't have a sell setup on the 4-hour time frame. On the 2-hour time frame, do you have a sell setup? Yes, we have a sell setup on the 2-hour time frame here. So this is what sweep of liquidity here. We have protected high here, and then we have what structural liquidity, which is here. So this is what our point of interest on V100 index. So we anticipate price to come into this zone as usual, give us our continuation setup, and then drop to the downside. So this is the only recent price action, recent structure we have on V100 index for us to take a sell. So this is what we're anticipating on V100 index. So even if you take out the 24-hour time frame target, so far that we are still bearish and it didn't give us a bullish structure, we will still anticipate this point of interest for price to come here and sell. So that is all with volatility indices. The next we are going to be checking out is what step index. So the first step index I'll be checking out is step 100. So on step 100, starting from the 24-hour time frame, step 100 is bullish, but there's no structure on the bullish time frame structure. So we don't have a structure on the 24-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we have a structure. On the 24-hour time frame, we don't have a structure. On the 2-hour time frame, what do we have? Nothing. On the 1-hour time frame, we still don't have a structure on the 1 hour time frame. So on step 100, there is nothing happening on step 100 at the moment, or because if there is a structure, it will be very much visible. So I was anticipating a sell here yesterday, but it got invalidated. So this was the structure. There was no continuation entry on this, and price just passed through it like that. So we don't have anything on step 100. So the next step I'll be checking out is on step 200. What do we have on step 200? On the 24-hour time frame, what do we have on step 200? Nothing at the moment. Okay. Step 200 is bullish on the weekly time frame. So I will not be interested in any sell at this point. On the 4-hour time frame, what do we have? We don't have anything on 4-hour time frame. So on the 2-hour time frame, what do we have on step 200? Of course, we have a continuation here. We have our sweep of liquidity here, and we have our protected low here. And then this becomes what? Structural liquidity. So this is what our point of interest, which is here. Alright. So this is an A plus setup on the 2-hour time frame. Break of structure 1 and then break of structure 2. So this is our point of interest. This is what we are anticipating on step 200. This is the time frame structure we are anticipating on step 200. So we'll check the next one, which is step 300, and let's see what we have on step 300. Step 300 is bullish on the weekly time frame. There is a strong momentum. It's bullish on the weekly time frame. We don't have anything currently on step 300. All right, price started buying from here on step 300. Started buying from here. Okay, on step 300 we have something like this. So we have a structure like this on the weekly time frame on step 300 this way. So if you check your MT5 on the weekly time frame, you'll definitely see this. So we have this structure on step 300 on the weekly time frame. So step 300 is bullish. So this was where price take out the structural liquidity and then it started buying to the upside. So this is the starting point, and the finish point of step 300 is this swing high, which is here. So now what you are going to start looking out for now is a buy continuation. So on the 4-hour time frame, this is the structure I've been anticipating on step 300. This is our structural liquidity. This is our protected low, and then this is what sweep of liquidity, which is here. So this is what point of interest. So first break of structure is here, and second break of structure is right here. So so no matter how long price is going to take, it's either going to give us another buy continuation here and continue moving to the upside, or come back to this zone and started buying to the opposite direction. So this is what we are anticipating on step 300 at the moment on the 4-hour time frame. There is nothing happening. There is no sell. We shouldn't. I'm not going to be interested in any sell, and we shouldn't be interested in any sell too, because price is bullish on the weekly time frame, and the target is not yet taken out. So this is what I personally have on step 300. So the next I'll be checking is what step 400. What do you have on step 400? Step 400 has been bullish on the 24-hour time frame, the 4-hour time frame, and the 2-hour time frame. So it gave us a buy structure recently, but there was a buy we are supposed to take on V100 on step 400 some days back. So this was supposed to be the buy. So we have structural liquidity, and then we have a protected low, which is here, and then sweep of liquidity, which is here. So this was our what point of interest. But this sweep of liquidity, this structural liquidity is not up to 50%. If you take the measurement from here, from this point to this point, it's not up to 50%. So it was not valid. But the setup here, the continuation setup played out, and I was anticipating a continuation, but that didn't happen until target was taken out. So that was a missed trade on V on step 400 because the structural liquidity of the higher time frame was not up to 50%. And once it's not up to 50%, it is a low probability setup. So I ignored it. So the next pair I'll be checking out is what V is step 500. Step 500. What do we have on step 500? On the 2-hour time, on the 24-hour time frame, step 500 is bearish and it just smashes the target, which is here. Started selling from this zone here. And this was the finish point. The starting point was there, finish point was there, and you see price just took it out. So we'll look out for more sales on step 4 and on step 500. So on the 4-hour time frame, there is no sell. On the 2-hour time frame, is there a structure? Not yet. On the 1-hour time frame, is there a structure? Yes, there is. So this is our sweep of liquidity, our new sweep of liquidity here. Structural liquidity, and then we have our protected high. So this becomes our new point of interest. So we anticipate when price will come back to this zone and then start selling to the opposite direction. So this is what I have on step 500 index. Okay, this is what I have on step 500 index at the moment. So we are